All right. Well, good morning, or afternoon, or evening, night, whatever. Hey everyone, it's John here, coming to you from the glorious hole that is my apartment. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to the stream. I hope everyone is having a pleasant Sunday. For those of you who are dealing with daylight savings time, I apologize sincerely for your grief. So, today, my friends, I have decided that we are going to get out of just simple documentation reading because we've read through the most interesting parts of the documentation. For those of you who watched day two, I apologize for the horrible issues with the sound. They are hopefully now fixed. I ran a test before this. If there's something wrong with this, hopefully we will. Hopefully all those problems are solved by now. I ran a test right before we started streaming, so we are gonna get rolling. Today, what I want us to do, and I've decided for the next little bit. I don't know if I can use this here for a second. What I want us to do is to go through most of the Ruby documentation through projects. Now, a lot of people would ask or say, hey, John, why don't you just start going through Rails? Rails is only for web development. You can use Rails for a lot of other things, I suppose, but my goal here with Ruby is to learn it and to learn it well. And this means we're going to do all sorts of different things. But I want us to go through the documentation, right? I don't want to watch a YouTube video, copy the YouTube video, and then said, "Hey, boy, howdy, did I learn something?" Or read a Medium article or whatever, right? You need to practice what you learn, and you need to vary how you learn. That's the only way you get good at anything. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build multiple CLI projects. And a lot of this I will try to come up with on the spot. I will try to do a little pre planning, maybe some pre stream projects that I can put together, and then I can kind of redo them on the stream. But genuinely, I will be learning stuff through the stream, and hopefully, we'll be learning together. And that's the point, right? Um, Ruby is supposed to be one of the easiest programming languages to learn, and it's one of the reasons why I'm doing the stream like this. So let's get into it. So today we're going to be looking at Class Option Parser, or OP. Um, and we're going to go through the documentation here a little and then jump into the tutorial that they have here. Uh-oh, he said he didn't want to just go through a tutorial. And he said, hey, let's go through the tutorial, guys. My creatine. Yes, indeed, my creatine. So, option parser is a good way to, from what I understand. Ooh, let's mute that. From what I understand, option parser is a good way to get a CLI. That's why. So we go like this. What's he doing? He's stopped midway just to look at his Twitch dashboard. This is one of the basic ways in which we can create a CLI application. And one of the reasons I'm starting with the CLI application is because that's just where is a good place to start with running stuff, right? We run stuff in the byte rate's good. Byte rate is good, folks. Business is good. So option parser is where we can run CLI applications, the CLI or the terminal is one of the best places to start in learning programming or start in learning any sort of language, right? People want GUI, people want web stuff. I get it. But Ruby is supposed to be an all purpose language, and I want to use it for as many purposes as we can find for it. So let's get into it. Anybody else run 10 kilometers yesterday? I did. It was fun. All right, option parser. New to option parser? See the tutorial. Or read the book, Movie at 8. Introduction. Option parser is a class for command line option analysis. It is much more advanced, yet also easier to use than get opt long. It is more Ruby oriented. Is a more Ruby oriented solution. Just because I actually don't know this. That's why God invented Google, right? R package Ruby. Interesting. I did not know this. That's why we look at the documentation to learn. Features. The arguments, specification, and code to handle it are written in the same place. That's always helpful. It can output an option summary. You don't need to maintain this string separately. Optional and mandatory arguments are specified very gracefully. Arguments can be automatically converted to a specific or a specified class. Specific class or specified class. You can change that sentence structure. It still means the same thing. Some people said I was an English teacher at one point. Arguments can be restricted to a certain set. All these features are demonstrated in the examples below. The make switch. See make switch for full documentation. Make switch for full documentation. This is a problem with some docs is that you pull one thread and it just ends up going into another thing and another thing and another thing and another. Woo! Always fun. Always a good time. Right? The block is given to the handler and then create an option. When the option is encountered during the command line parsing, the block is called and the argument is given to the option. See, option. See, you pull one thread and it goes into another, into another, into another. We're not going to go crazy. Option parser, option handlers. They're good old getters and setters. Feels like it. Option handlers, block. Not going to worry about that too much right now. Let's get into this. So, minimal example. So let's require, because it's required, opt parse. Our Optimus parse options. Just open this here. Right. And then option parser dot new do boom boom pipe parser. So we're doing the parser land pipe parser dot banner usage example RB. Then we got options. Always best to have options, friends. And then once we go into parser on, then in here we throw our flags. Verbose. Run verbosely. Run with verbosity. We're not just here to copy. Do the V. So right here, you can see very quickly, options dot get our good old, there we go, verbose. There you go. This is going to equal, uh-oh, nope, not what we wanted. Not what we wanted. not kill, but more like a get it gone. That's gone. Bring it back. This happens every once in a while. Nope. There we go. There we go. Fix that up. V and now we gotta wait for VS Code to load. Either too much crap in it. See, I've been thinking of switching editors, but VS Code is just it's like Microsoft. It's like Microsoft itself. VS Code is both easy enough to use and hard enough to let go of because it's easy enough to use, even though there might be better options. So there are options here. So speaking of options, let's see. There we go. Pull this down for now. Require opt parse, right? Options. So the parser banner. So that gives us there. So that gives us our example.rb options, right? Parser on flag v, flag, verbose, run with verbosity, do v, options, verbose equals v, right? And then parse. So when we have the v here, and our options give us the ability to access whatever is inside of here, right? So this is calling it a send again, right? As far as I can see, that's how that's working. So we don't really have like much in terms of this. So if I'm not wrong on this, op.rb v that did not work. No such file directory. Huh. Well, let's just give up and go home. No. Options. P dot options. Parse. That's there. Options is there. But there's really nothing for the parser to do, right? Example.rb. That's because we're not in example.rb. No, that had nothing to do with it. Let's say do. Okay, so what are we into? Get out here. Generating help. Because we're not really doing anything in this, right? Okay. But we go. Somebody's gonna call me out on that. That's okay. Oh no. The byte rate is unstable again. All right. So require. So generating help. So option parser can be used to automatically generate help for commands you write. All right. So require. Yeah. Well, we were supposed to just leave that there, and we didn't. Options. Struct new. Give it a name. Class parser. Self parse options. Okay. Args. Options new. World. parser options new world. The whole new world. Disney will come after me for this. Okay, person options. Why did I read it like that? New do parser. Okay, and then parser dot parser dot. So it's always the same parser dot banner danner parser dot danner. Get Dannon. So usage example.rb options. Parse it down on inside of here we got n name equals name to say hello. Alright, so when we're doing this to do pipe and args dot name and parser on in this is one thing I don't really remember what on exactly is. That's why we are reading the documents. Prints this help do puts no DP. What does that mean? Puts parser. This is the one thing I do like about this as opposed to JavaScript, as opposed to Python, the two languages I kind of already know. Kind of, I do know. But it doesn't give you such nonsense where with Python everything is tabs and everything, nothing runs unless the tabs are correct, right? In Ruby, we at least have the ability to create our objects and stuff and our variables, and it doesn't, the whole thing doesn't cry and complain, it just adjusts, right? And now you can say the same thing that happens with Python too. This feels less annoying. So, you know who else feels that way? DHH, and he's always right about everything, and he's the greatest guy in the world, and he will of course one day give me a job. That's what we say to people who suck up to Jeff Bezos, right? But in all seriousness, this does feel. I can see why people like him and other developers as well feel this is better than Python. I'm not trying to draw the comparison, but I'm drawing the comparison to that in like JavaScript. I was thinking about this today. If this was in JavaScript, we would be in like curly brackets hell, and then if we were doing this in React, I don't even think about that right now. We're just working on our optparse. So anyway, let's go back to that. So right now we have require optparse options as a struct with new name, and we're getting the class of the parser, right? Now def self parse options args options new world, right? So I guess we're doing our good old hello world. Opt parser options new pipe parser, right? So with the parser banner and the parser on, so this parser is taking in the parser stuff here, right? So this puts parser, yeah, that's good there. Return the args. And options. Parser. Dot parse. Dot parse. this is devu help. Right. So it's our usage. And this is where so I'm assuming we're going Ruby. Ruby OP. Save it first. P.RPN. No such file directory. What do you mean no such file directory? So we're naming this. Is this in fact? Am I just an idiot? No. In theory, this should work, but then why are we not getting anything here? I just not that bright. Most people will tell you that's true, but huh. Interesting. There's no such file or directory. What do you mean no such file or directory? Ruby no such file or directory. OPRB, OPRB. I know exactly why that's happening. Because I am not very bright, because we need to go in here to day 3. That's why that's happening. Parse. Now we're getting a real error. Parse. Uh-oh. In main 26. Okay. Let's try that. Did you mean parse? Yes, I did mean parse. But then I did that. Still screaming at me. This is fun. Undefined method parse. Oops, parser. Return args. Interesting. Let me just take that out. Huh. I don't want to just move on from this and say, well, I don't know, but I kind of feel like moving on and saying, I don't know. No, because we are basically copying. Start from the top. Options, right? So we got options here, options, args. Something I love doing is just to rewrite the whole thing again, so we don't run into problems. Because why not? Because people can call me out for this if they like. They'll call me out for anything if they want, but args equals options dot new world. Alright, so starting this out, it's okay. Opt parser option dot new to pipe parser dot banner equals usage example dot rb options. So let's just, instead of calling this example, let's call it OP, because that's what this file is named for. Parser.on and name flag name to say hello to. It's a name only a mother would love. Do pipe args dot name equals n. Nope, equals n end. Okay, that looks better. Don't know why, but it does. Parser dot on h flag h help prints this help do puts nope keep on doing the derp puts parser exit and okay, now that's the IntelliSense seems to be telling me something in the very least. Parser parse options. Okay. Return args end options equals parser dot parse percentage w. Alright, that may or may not be what we needed to do. There we go. Sometimes you just gotta rewrite everything. Something was up in the middle there, but cool. We made it work. So, but we can just add other stuff in here too if we wanted. So, for example, we wanted to do, let's say, because in here we can just add our different flags, right? Let's say parser.on E, right? No, let's do this. F. Now we're not going to the place where you think, because this is going to be food, right? And then prints your favorite food item, right? And then we do, right? And then we args, and then we're doing name. Food equals f, right? So if we save that, do that here. Uh-oh. And because we didn't put end, we need end. We must end, right? Let's see, we get food. What's your favorite food? Load item, right? So if we do beyond that, so we put food here. But it doesn't quite give us what we want. Close. Ah, right, because there's no do. Pipe F. Nope, not FF. Right, food. Usage. Print your favorite food. Prints this help. Name to say hello. But would it be food? Yeah, we get that. It's the same idea. Name to say hello to. Print your food. Right. So now we need to actually be able to print food. We got types coercion now parse. So want us just to walk through a couple more of these first. And then we will go into the tutorial. Because we got generating help, right? Got that done. So let's do required arguments. Let's do in here. P required arguments, $P. Right, so we got require parse options. And then we can do option parser because we're already in the same doc, so do. I will never, ever, ever allow AI or Copilot or Cursor or anything on here like that. I will. Don't do that to your text editor. You're gonna screw your mind up if you do that. People act like that. It's really good, and I guess it might help some people. Doesn't help me because I'd rather do my work than hand it over to Mr. Anderson. I just feel like, yeah, we are just going into the Matrix in that point. It's literally how that movie starts out, is talking about how humans came up with AI. We reveled in our glory, and then they took us over. Like, why are we not learning from this? Why are we not learning that AI is not a great thing? I feel as a society we're moving towards that, but then all of the business interest is going towards AI. And I am really, really looking forward to when it all ends. But until then, either via the destruction of humanity or just data centers exploding and causing rural areas to have severe natural disasters, and not natural disasters, but environmental disasters, I'm just looking forward to an ending. That's it. That's it. That's all I want. That is all I want. We don't always get what we want, but when we do, sometimes it's not actually what we want. So looking at this one here, so we're going back to required arguments. For options that require an argument, option specification strings may include an option name in all caps. If an option is used without the required argument, an exception will be raised. Gotta love exceptions. So, for example, here we have the parse options Option parser dot new dot or pipe parser parser on man, parser on Wayne, parser on Garth. So parser on our required library before executing your script. Right, do lib. But when are we going to own the libs? That is the real question. Puts. This might. Hang on. This might be a problem. No, it's not a problem. This is the one useful thing about the Vim people. Tell me whether or not your actual lovely Vim text editor will give me spell checker or not. I like the spell checker on VS Code well enough, but I'm willing to give Vim a try if it will have the same option. No. And okay, that's not going over, so that means and parse. Right, so I don't think this is gonna work. Huh. Alright, let's just give this a try. And we're gonna go Ruby BRA dot RB R. Missing argument of R. Yeah, okay, that's supposed to happen. And then library. You're required my library. You're required. You required my library. You're required my library. No, you required my library. No, you required my library. All right, so we got all sorts of fun things here for type coercion, which we always need. Option parsers imparts the ability to coerce command line arguments into objects for us. Option parser comes with a few ready-to-use kinds of type coercion. They are date, time, UR, shell word, string, integer, float, numeric, decimal integer, octal integer, decimal numeric, true class, false class, array, and regex. And much, much more if you call now. We'll throw in this handy tote bag. This is not a handy tote bag. True story. My girlfriend, my partner, saw this bag and she stitched it up. Where was the stitching? Oh, it's got a hole in the bottom. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So yeah, call now and you'll get maybe a chance to see this wonderful, barely hanging on bag. So. Also, remember from the last stream, I mentioned the Python book. This is actually not bad. This is actually really good. This is somewhat falling apart, but I recommend it for people who just need a quick Python reference. I'm a big fan of having books around and having actual reference material because it just makes you feel better. It's good for your eyes. So, okay, we have all these things that can be type coerced in our option parser. Or option parser. Or option parser, or option parser. Whatever way the val goes. So, using built-in conversions. So, built-in conversion. Build that conversion, yo. That's where it's at. Okay. I need to get those hotkeys fixed up. So OP BC RB. Why not? I just like having different files rather than just rewriting the same file over and over and over again. That way when we make a git commit with all of this, it looks like we did something for the day. Require opt parse time. Interesting. Let's space that. So here we're going to go option parser, new do parser. Parser on Garth, parser on Wayne. T. Parser on, dudes. Time. Time. No. One like that. Begin. Execution. Execute order given time. No, that's better. Execute order given time. P time and dot parse. I feel like it's yelling at me when we put the exclamation point at the end. Ruby dot op bc dot rb t blah blah. Did not like that nonsense. So let's just type in a regular word, rag word. Ooh, really didn't like that. All right. Let's try that one more time. Rag word. Man, it got angry. It got really angry. So if we do this and then T. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll just give you the regular time. 2010. So what about? Oh wow, this is non Y2K compliant. Holy Christmas, really? Today. For those of you who don't know, Y2K was one of those things that back in 1999 we were all worried was going to destroy the world. And because there was not the first two digits of the godly in the year of our Lord, 20 or 19 or 18 or whatever, and only the last two digits of the year were, oh my goodness gracious me. That's. Am I crazy? Is that the way for other languages? I haven't really used time that much for other languages, so you learn something new every day. God, I love it so much. It's right now. It's 7:55. Yeah, that's today. So that's right now. CCC. At least it's not the KKK. Creating custom conversions. Conversions. All right. Create a new file for this, and then we'll just say DCCRB. We'll do require opt parse user struct. Someone might tell me, hey, you should have done the tutorial before walking through the documentation. I say walk through the documentation, then do the tutorial so you know what's going on. Or I don't know. Live your best life. Live and let die. This is what I don't like sometimes when you get this. Then Control I to continue with Copilot. Get out of my VS Code, you mother trucking piece of. Ugh. Yeah, no, I can just ignore it. But it's there. Vim Code Motions or Vim Motions is being added tomorrow, and we're gonna get good at this, and then we'll just quickly or try to move over to Vim. I am tired of this crap. I just really am. It's like one of the reasons I don't want to use TypeScript. It's one of the reasons I don't want to use the Microsoft stuff. Well, yeah, I have to use GitHub because everyone uses GitHub, but I'm allowed to not like Microsoft, right? So you guys are seeing my emotional reaction to this. Man, we were supposed to get to Thor today. Um, nah, it's all right. Okay. Anyway, the accept method of option parser may be used to create converters. It specifies which conversion block to call whenever a class is specified. The example below uses it to fetch a user object before the on handler receives it. This is something I do genuinely want to build. I want to build a CLI authentication tool using Ruby. I was thinking about this today, and I think that might be like one of the big projects we do in November, or at least I do on here, or try to do. Yes, and then when I feel sufficiently fun or fine with Ruby, and I feel like I've done everything else with Ruby, then I'll move on to Rails. Not until then. So, until then, off we go. Enough ranting. Require opt parse. Use struct.new ID name. Define. Find user ID. Right? So we're taking in the argument of the ID. Not found, raised. User not found. No user found. You know, user not found is better. Four. And then just put the ID that way. Because it looks better. I like it that better that way. You guys want to go with the tutorial? Fine, go with the tutorial. I'm going to write it my way. Sam. No. We're doing a better fictional character. Who's a better fictional character? Wayne. User. New. To. Garth. Close that. Find. Not found. Do. You. And. Equals. But we're outside that definition by now. Yeah. That should. Hang on. Because it's the white space here that's, I think, screwing us up. Okay, we'll see. Dot new p dot user do user ID find user ID dot to int and opt dot on user ID, user, do user, puts user, and parse. Alright, let's see if this works. Ruby ccc dot ruby user one. Oh, whoa, holy Christmas. Let's try that again. Nope. Did you mean opt parse? Where? Hold on. Where? Because nope, it's not like JavaScript. Struct user Wayne. Struct user Garth. Nothing there. All right, we're gonna do this one, and then we're gonna run over to the tutorial. So just store it in a hash, man. Store it in a hash. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do doc. They're gonna put this in docs afterwards. Not right now, but afterwards I'm gonna move all these over to docs. Yeah. I know I'm using my mouse, but sue me. Tutorial. Then we're gonna do toot.rb. Toot the dude. All right, cool. Do two more files. So first one here is hash rb. So store options to a hash. The into option, order, parse, and so on methods, so on methods, and so on methods, and so on. I hate this. Hate it in English. Hate it here. And so on methods store command line options into a hash. Right. So we hash this stuff. Parse. Right. Options. Option parser dot new do parser. And then parser on Wayne, parser on Garth. And then we do a now we save our fingers. No. Yep. Benum integer. Just really save your fingers if you're doing it like that. V, and then we'll go. Yeah, and dot parse. And P options. There we go. So we're going to do that in the hash. How does that store that in the hash? Now I don't know if we're going to walk through this entire thing, but give it a try. To those 2 people watching, hey, say hi. Be great to hear from people. Save that there. And then we're going to go hash. Nope. Got to do Ruby hash RB. And then what they say here is to test that out. It's going to go A. That's going to give us a true. Parse that on. And that's all parser. You see, you weren't paying attention. See, kids, this happens when you don't pay attention. No, I don't want to be starting that. No. I don't want that right now. Don't need a live server. Not right now, at least. True. And then we go V. Verbose is true. Then we go B. Can we go V as well? Yeah, again. Cool. Interesting. No. Clear that up. All right, cool. So before we go into the full complete example, which yeah, I am gonna take a quick break. So we're gonna go Ron Swanson throwing away a computer gif. I don't think that's violating copyright at all. I'm showing you what I found. Open this here. I do a big ol' zoom in. I do this. So there we go. Yeah, Uncle John's gonna take a little break. Just to stretch my legs and to yeah. Just to stretch my legs and just to do all the humanly things. Anyway, I'll be back. That's nuts. Okay. Well, what I'm gonna actually do instead is just stop the stream temporarily. Well, I'll stop the stream, then I'll just come back. So, be back in probably 5 minutes, y'all.